recommendation for the proposed bill for approval or disapproval.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, guests, members of the body, executive. Consensus on July 19th, we had a committee meeting of 5 members present. The motion to send to the floor was by Senator Junior Rilbert, second by Senator Paul Hill, question by Senator Carlos Nomi. The consensus vote was 5-0-0. It is for approval. That's the recommendation from the.
Thank you, Senator Goodluck. At this time, we'll go ahead and move on to debate. Anybody has any debate? Okay, we'll go ahead, Senator Goodluck.
A motion to cease debate and add some amended language from our committee meeting the other day.
Okay, with that, I believe Bill is going to make some copies of the judicial part, I believe, at this time.
A motion to cease debate and go into amendments.
Okay, the motion was made, need a second? Second by Senator Melber. Question? Senator Hill? All in favor, raise your right hand. Cease debate. Okay, 15 yes, 0 no's, and 0 abstain. At this time, we'll go ahead and move on to the amendment portion. And Bill's copy earlier, but Bill, did you get those copies for the judicial part?
Yes, sir.
You want to take a look at it? Go ahead. Your decision.
Mr. Speaker, point of clarification. I have some amendments I would like to read.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go there, and then with your permission, you can add those judicial ones. So we'll go ahead and go up, and we'll go ahead and read the amendments to you. Go ahead, Senator Goodluck, you may proceed with the amendments that were done. You may proceed. This is the one that these were just passed out just a little while ago, and it's, I believe it's in if you look under the green tab, this one right here that was just handed out by Jackie. Everyone got it? We'll go ahead and proceed the blue line. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The second whereas in the handout. Okay, the second whereas, we have a blue line adding amendment on the top, introduced by A.J. Malfrey, Chairman of Pro Days of Rest. In the second whereas, we have a amendment, whereas the executive branch introduced an act updated the Crow Housing Ordinance, January 2017 regular session, and thereafter, the legislative branch was informed that the executive branch, in agreement with the legislative branch, would substitute the introduced legislation with the infrastructure legislation version with the recommended amendments. With such amendment recommendation was made by the Infrastructure Committee on February 15, 2017, and such substitute versions is here approved by the committee on July 19, 2017. Okay, I'll go to the second page. On the bottom, we have a section we added. A saving clause, all contracts, all agreements heretofore entered into by the previous housing authority shall remain valid and intact. And there's some red line we strike them out. And I think at the bottom where it says Senator, we have Senator Eric Brown. AJ Alfred Jr., Chairman. All the amendments we had them in committee. We believe we see it. Also, there was some questions on public. We had an email sent out to all the senators with all of the public comments. So what we were thinking was that all that was brought out. So all of that was added in here by our legal. So, like I said, we have some amendments there. So do I make a motion to approve the amendments, or do I wait till Bill reads his judicial language?
We can, it's up to you, Senator, if you want to go ahead and add that. Delay it up and glance in your committee. So if you want to.
I could let Bill read his language in here. I can't read his writing.
So at this time, with permission of infrastructure chair, we go ahead and recognize Bill Watt.
Thank you very much. Speaker and Infrastructure Committee Chair.
You'll take your mics on, huh?
Testing.
There we are. How are you?
It was on you. Thank you, Speaker,
Go ahead, you may proceed.
Committee Chair. And I wish Dawn were here, but anyway, I'll give you these suggestions. I don't think they change the intent and the spirit of the revised ordinance. The first one is at the top there, 1912-103 enforcement petition. Already in the previous provisions, people agreed by the housing committee decision. First of all, the board makes a decision, then they can appeal it. The housing authority makes a decision, can go to the board. The board decision can then be appealed to tribal court. There are no filing fees as it's written right now, and they would get full due process at that point. But added in there is another layer of judicial review that says an enforcement petition that all final agency action which involve property interests protected by the due process clause. I guess I would submit to you that almost all housing board decisions involve what arguably is a property interest. So this would probably be triggered, or at least one could argue that it's triggered every time that a final action is made for an eviction or the selection of the house or anything that the housing board does, that the board of commissioners would decide. But this then would require them to go to court and get a court order and able to, before they can do anything. Again, if a person doesn't like what they're getting ready to order, they can always appeal to the tribal court without having to pay anything to do it. So that due process, I would submit, is already in place. And this will make it virtually impossible for the housing authority to ever make decisions or to effectively enforce its decisions or get anything done. Again, I'm not familiar with all the things the housing authority does, and I would submit that that would be very difficult for them to operate with. Again, it's a little overly protective because the people already have appeal rights. Then, under 1912-104, appeal to the Court of Appeals. My colleague, the legal department, observe that the last sentence there that says, after receiving a final decision in the Court of Appeals, all tribal remedies shall be deemed exhausted. Now that phrase is usually the precursor to a federal court case, because part of the pleading there for its jurisdiction will be that we have exhausted all tribal remedies. And I don't believe that was the intent. Our suggestion would just be to replace that sentence with one that says the decision and order from the Crow Court of Appeals shall be final and non-appealable, to try to cut off any collateral federal court attack. Next, under 1912-104, costs and attorney's fees, says that the judicial branch may, in its discretion, award costs and attorney's fees against any party whose appeal was frivolous, malicious, or in bad faith. That seems to make good sense, so that not absolutely every action, regardless of whether there's any merit to the objection, would at least have some consequence if you drag the housing authority through an appeal. However, the next sentence, though, then adds, under no circumstances shall such fees and costs be rendered against a party seeking judicial review of actions of the housing authority. So that actually makes the previous sentence, I think, meaningless, because it says anybody seeking an appeal can never be awarded, have costs and attorney's fees awarded against them. But the previous sentence says that any appeal that's malicious or bad faith, they can get costs and attorney's fees. So my suggestion would be either to strike this entirely or strike that last sentence. Those would require them to renumber a couple of these. I mentioned 1912-106, the waiver of civil filing fees. So again, aggrieved persons who think the housing authority has done something wrong to them can go to court without having to spend a bunch of money for costs. Finally, I would suggest adding 1912-107, no waiver of sovereign immunity. That would say nothing in this act shall constitute any waiver whatsoever of the authority or the Crow tribe's sovereign immunity with respect to money damages or any other form of monetary relief. This would, again, allow people to appeal the orders of the housing authority to the tribal court, just like it's already written. But they couldn't tack on a money damages claim to every one of those appeals. Again, it seems like that would tend to encourage a bunch of frivolous other appeals where people who rightfully feel that they don't like the decision that's been made, but someone has to still make those tough decisions. Without this, I'm afraid the authority would be subjected, theoretically, to money damages at every turn of the way, because anybody with a lay advocate or an attorney is going to do an appeal is going to add a claim for money damages to them. And that, for all the good reasons that the tribe has sovereign immunity and that you examine those very carefully before you approve them, for those same reasons, I think it would be good to consider borrowing money relief in appeal without affecting their right to what we would call in the law equitable relief. That is, in order telling the housing authority to follow your own law, do what's right here, but we're not going to give you $10,000 in damages. Those are my suggestions for making it a lot more workable judicial review provisions without changing the spirit and intent of giving people full due process for the matters of the housing authority. I'm glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and give this to Senator Willett.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to take a 5-minute executive session so the senators can kind of review that.
We'll go ahead and
I'll make a motion.
I need a second. Seconded by Senator Paulio. Question? Senator Yellowtail? All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, well, Phil, JR, we're gonna go ahead and take a 5-minute executive session, and then we'll go from there. So, what we're doing now is we're sending back to Dawn. That's ready to see that it's lined up with us.
Sherry needs to
So
turn
that's
this off.
it's okay.
Some of the,
Isa.
some of the language that he's taking out is